Is it recording?
Yes.
All right. So today's topic is about work, and just in my specifically about me and like how I feel about how it's like how work like how your first job will be for your any job really. This can be your first or your last job. I don't know which one it is, but it's pretty shitty because I feel like this happened. Like I'm gonna first bring up yesterday, Duncan. So what ended up happening yesterday was that when you took me to work, right? What ended up happening was when I showed up there, the whole place was in shambles. It was terrible. Like there was four managers there, and then they have five workers, and then they still managed to not take care of a whole entire store, and it just didn't make sense to me. What I didn't like about it was that the floor had grease all over it. Like literally, there was grease all over the floors. So by the time I show up, I'm like ready for work, and then I'm like, damn, like y'all just left this place in a fucked up position. One of the managers leave as soon as he sees me come in, and then like the other two just bullshit, and then I mean the other one who was like actually doing work, he wasn't doing anything really. He was doing the cash register, something that a worker could have done. He wasn't doing a very good job. He was moving slow. He wasn't doing anything else like multitasking. He was. It's like at this job they're not very productive, and like it's not saying that the workers aren't productive because the workers I it's like you can find a couple of good workers, but it's just that the people that they hire there are just terrible. You know,
You're saying as managers?
yeah, like the manager, like literally the managers. Like I don't see how they make managers there, knowing that the managers don't actually do anything that actually is beneficial towards close, and they depend on their closers. For me, I always close mostly. Like I always close,
Uh huh.
and so when you close, you make like a lot more money than like most workers during the daytime or afternoons. But one thing about it is it's a whole lot much more that you do. Even like you do a whole lot more than them because you're basically cleaning after them. And you walk when you walk in there, like I walk in there at like 8 p.m. and when most of the time it's like a whole lot of stuff that I have to do.
Ooh.
Like the first thing I do is I like look around. It's just shit you got to do.
Yeah.
You know,
What the
si-
fuck?
what
That was an art van truck.
since
Just
I've been
coming over
there,
here.
it's it's been pretty. It's the money has been okay, but I feel like I can make a whole lot more while going towards another job that's going to help be more beneficial for me, especially because how this place just works in general. Like, cause I this is my first ever job, and I got it like last year in early May, and it's like for what I can understand from having a job, I didn't know what many jobs were like earlier before, and I just assumed that most jobs do stuff like this. But then as I worked here longer, I got smarter and older, or whatever. The fuck. I eventually realized that this place I work a lot more harder than most people at other jobs. I work a whole lot more harder for paychecks that's not actually doing me the best. You know,
Yes. This is the plight of uh I'd say low level workers. Because most companies or corporations, the managers aren't necessarily supposed to work. They're supposed to go, let me put numbers into a computer, let me tell these people how to do. They're supposed to manage you and manage the restaurant. That's their main job. If they have to work, that's usually because A, people don't show up, or B, just because they haven't hired the people to work that shift.
right, right. But at this place though, how it's set up is that rule automatically just doesn't make sense or how you're supposed to work, because first off, when we close, it's mostly just three workers. And it's like I said before, it's a lot of stuff that we normally have to do. And when the manager's there, they they just bullshit. They don't actually do anything. They all do the exact same thing, and I never get why they just do do the one thing. They like the only thing they do is just do cash register. You know, when you're a manager, what happens is they get black pants or they get like a special promotion first. This means that they're like a pro, so they know everything, uh, uh, and then they become a manager. You know, rather they're a crew manager or they're like a assistant manager. They basically can boss you around, and they have to take care of the restaurant while they're there. And the only bad parts about these workers really is just that they're not actually doing their jobs. You know, as for them to be managers, they don't
What would their
actually.
job be then? Are they not managing the people working there? Are they not taking care of the store? Because
They
you
don't.
said they had grease on the ground or that it was in disarray, which is also not part of their job. But on other nights, how are they not doing their job correctly? If
It,
their job's mostly to make sure you do your job.
so that's literally where they don't do their job. When they don't actually make people do their jobs, and really at Popeyes, oh, I'm sorry, I just gave away the place. But really, when you work there, a manager's supposed to do something. They're supposed to get their workers to do at least something. Now, a good majority of the people who work there are minors, and you only have like I think about only 4 to 5 close 18 or older people or adults who
Not children.
who are
Child
able to
molestation.
work till close, because you know minors, which is basically like people with 17 and under, well 17 to 14, they can't work close because they're too young for it. So a lot of times they bullshit and they don't actually do what they're supposed to do.
You talking about the minors?
Yeah.
But look at it in this way. Before, don't forget your point. But if you're a minor, how responsible are you going to be if you know you can go to a job and you're just not going to do what you're supposed to do? Or you just don't care to. That's where the managers are messing up, because they could be like, all right, this person's not working at all. From how I look at it, if I was a manager, if I always noticed somebody wasn't working, even if we weren't in the position to fire people, I'd be like, all right, you're about to be on the way out of here, because I'd much rather have nobody working here than to be paying you to slack off, because they're wasting money hiring people that aren't going to do the job. Even though minors, you could hire them and make them do kind of what you want, because they don't have any power. It's their first job, second job. They don't have any influence there.
And in a lot of circumstances, it's like the managers, you know, they're supposed to make the minors do work so that way the work can be a tad bit easier on us. You know, we're basically a closer. Your main job is to take over of the people in the afternoon, and the people who work, you know, all the way to like 10 or 11, they they help you out by taking care of the stuff that they messed up or cleaning up after themselves, while the closers like just they clean up around them so that way the whole store can actually be clean. A lot of times that don't really end up being the case. Ever since I worked at this job, really, it's like it's been me and just a couple of people, just really 2 people and then like one manager. So that means like you get 4 people per like close. The manager wouldn't make any of their afternoon people or minors do anything, and they just bullshit. And they like bullshit or with the minors. That's one of the main problems. And then they would they just make us do it. We would just do it all. You know, eventually, ever since like last year, I grown to get I got better at doing it to the point for when I can pretty much do a whole close by myself with relative ease. I won't even say it's that easy actually. I mean, I don't want to do a close by myself. If I ever did a close by myself, I would actually be moving extremely fast. In fact, when I close, a lot of times I call myself a god for doing it, just because I am in fact capable of running a whole entire shift or a whole restaurant by myself, which I've done plenty of times, because even the people who close with me aren't as good as me. And a lot of times they're not the fastest workers. They're not like, I won't say that they're bullshitters. I just say that they're not the best workers. Period. Like, you can put them on one job and then they'll be on that job like almost forever till the store closes down completely. And they might get it done early enough to the point where they can end up helping me out. But a lot of times they're still doing their job. I feel like when you're working at like a store period or any job, you actually shouldn't have to go through that for most people. Uh, I feel like if you do have any type of job like that, like if you just need to leave completely. That's what I'm ready to do. Like I wanted to leave, so I'm just trying to find another job. And then, through researching of other jobs, I found out there's plenty of jobs out there, but there's not a lot of jobs out there like fast food restaurants that's considered to be better than what I'm working at. Really, you know, it's not much of a difference. Because you can still get shitty ass managers, and you can still get shitty workers, and then you could be the best worker out there. You're gonna always have somebody who bullshits a lot.
I mean, hypothetically, that's just some people. It's not everyone that's a bullshitter, but young people, yes. I could say you might be a bullshitter when you have a job and it's strictly just to have money. When you don't have to pay for your own bills, your own rent, when those things don't come into the equation, it's just like, all right, if I don't have this job, I don't buy as many video games. So, especially for high school students, and it's not just. I think it's a mix of Popeyes might not hire or yeah, we already said where you worked, and you can kind of guess to a certain extent. But you're basically saying that it's the people's fault, but it's also who you hire's fault and where you're working's fault. Because you can. I'm not saying that you're not correct by saying that these people aren't working hard, but if they're not working hard, like I said before, I'd much rather fire somebody. But you have to also have to look at you're fast food. There is no hiring criteria. You show up to the interview, they like how you look, they hire you. It's not about having any references, anything. So you're not going to get the best people. In other industries, you might get better people, but they're still going to have connections. There's always going to be a level of somebody knew something that you didn't to get a job, at least in some instances than others. Like if you're talking about an office job, they might know the guy who owns the office, or they might know a guy who knows that guy. There's always a way you can get in through the back door, or maybe you might just go get a master's degree. You might not be that talented or skilled, and you might not work hard, but you have a master's degree, so you look better. In some instances, like NBA, NFL, or just sports in general, it's based on your merit, but in most jobs, it's not. It's based on A, who you know, or B, for a fast food job, okay, we're gonna hire you, we're gonna see how it works out, but they don't really have the resources to get the best people possible. Because you don't know off the street who's gonna be the best if they have no references. They're just a regular person off the street, you know?
But it's like, for me to work there this long, I do believe I should already be like a manager basically, or like a shift leader manager at most. I feel like I'm already at that level. I already I have I pretty much in my mind I have the right to say that I'm better than the managers there. Like far better, like far greater than them at just doing their whole job, because I can do their whole job. But it comes to a point where you end up realizing that even when you try to like tell certain people what to do, and you're just telling them to do stuff just because you want them to pick up slack after they like bullshit you, you don't want them to not do anything. You tell them that, and then they're not going to care really. And the moment that like it's just this one day, it made me extremely mad when I saw that the workers was just bullshitting. I got on this one dude about it, and then it was in front of a manager too, and that manager didn't seem to care at all. He didn't care. None of the workers cared, to the point when that guy didn't care about a word that I said. At the end of the day, I look like a person who just just being. I was the only one mad really, simply because nobody cares when somebody else bullshits. Uh, and that to me, I just this was actually my first time really seeing that, like literally seeing that this manager here doesn't even care the fact that this person bullshitted on their shift. So how did I think? I thought like, damn, if this is how a person gonna act, what if I did that? In a lot of cases, they regretting that shit. Like, uh, when I just decided to show up late and didn't show up on time, I actually did that purposely. The a whole restaurant, like, it was just fucked up. It's like nobody actually did anything. And even when I closed and when I showed up, I still didn't do a lot. To the point for when, the store wasn't clean enough, honestly. But even when you do that, like even when I did it, I still didn't feel satisfactory about it because I don't feel like bullshitting is the way to beat somebody who basically bullshits, who treats their job like that. If that's how they treat their job, I don't have to stoop to their level. I just need to get a better job. But it's like I said, like when it comes towards jobs, you can always get somebody who's a bullshitter. And I just kind of thought about it like, if I had to get any job anywhere, I want to get a job that's actually going to give me a scholarship. You know, I do care about money coming into my pockets, but I care more about just being able to take care of myself. Because, I'm actually a 20-year-old now. I'm actually in college right now, and I feel like I need to be able to, like, supply for myself. I feel like if you get a job anywhere, you got to know that job got to be beneficial towards your goals. Rather it's just for a lot of money, or if it's just like for like I'm trying to get, like, if you want to make if you want them to help pay for your college. I feel
Yeah.
like there's a whole lot about it that I just don't like, but a whole lot of lessons that you end up learning. And through working here, I also learned a lot about myself as well as others, and also how I can start things and like get better at life. You know, one of the things that I want to get better at is socializing and starting things like I'm gonna say uh what is, like, clubs. Like, I'm as of right now, me and Duncan, we're trying to start that right now, because it was like about last year when we had like it was, I'm not gonna even say we because it was just really me. Like, I used to have, like, when I was going to college and stuff, like when I was just strictly in college, I kind of bullshitted because I was sitting there having too much fun going into a corner where there was a whole lot of people at and just playing video games all day. Just doing stuff and hanging out and chilling and just talking to people. I did more of that than I did my schoolwork. And what made me come to reality and like just woke me up and just made me stop doing it was when I had a couple of friends who who undertook my kindness as basically something of like using them. And that's when I just said, damn, I don't actually do that to them, but that's how they feel that I treat them. And then it just made me think about where I'm actually heading in life. And then I wanted to do better for myself. So that way nobody would ever think of me like that. You don't want nobody to think that you're a person, that you're something that you're not. You don't want no one to think that about you.
Yeah, it's like when people call you crazy. Nobody wants to be called crazy because if you're not crazy, why the fuck are you calling me crazy? It's just if somebody says you're a user, like it's just words like that you don't want to be called that regardless, especially by somebody when you're not actually doing that.
Yeah, it's like, and the thing is, the person who's dating that person, like, is the woman is basically dating a man who does nothing.
Really, women date men?
It's not even funny.
No,
No,
it was
I,
less
no, I mean,
funny.
like,
It was more like sarcastic.
no, I was talking about it as a joke wise.
No, it's like
It was not funny.
Maybe it's the delivery because, like, really, women date men now. When did they start dating men? This one instance. No, but go ahead. I'll let that one
But
go.
yeah, I feel like there's a lot that I'm learning about myself when it comes towards how I work. Because, I'm basically a hard worker. I'm like, I work extremely hard for anything that I want. Things that I don't work, that I don't really care about, I show less effort of doing it. And then sometimes there could be things that I do care about that I still show less effort. And the only way I'm going to show a lot of effort and like or do put as much work as I can in there is if I do it addictively, to the point when I close everything out. You know, I close so many things out just to get this one done or multiple things done. And eventually I become like I end up getting it done. I end up doing it. In my mind, I am a great worker at doing things, but it's like that's like literally what I learned from just working at like a restaurant. Really, that's it's one of the dumbest things I've ever like. It's not even dumb. It's like it's pretty amazing actually. Then on top of that, I learned that I need to be more sociable as well, and just learn how to like utilize every like minute of everything that I do. Pretty much utilize it in some type of way. It's like if you like playing video games, why not live stream it or something? If you like talking about if you like talking about stories or your life with your friends, why not record it and then just make a podcast about it? It's things that you should just do that I feel like that'd be beneficial for you in in some sort of way. Cause there might be somebody out there who feels the same way, and I feel like, dang, if I can like tell them what I'm going through, and they can feel the exact same way, and I can tell them how I go through it, or maybe they can even tell me how they go through it. You know, we can work this out together. Rather it's a problem or it's more like a activity or whatever it is. Because I feel like this podcast isn't about necessarily negative stuff. It's about pretty much anything we want it to be. Rather it's a good topic or it's a bad topic. It's really just questioning how things work in life. Uh, I feel like that. When we keep working at this, it eventually becomes something that's more than what it is now. This is to me like an empty room, but I feel like eventually it'll be something that people would consider to go towards whenever they just like want to hear somebody, and maybe you find us inspiring in some way. I like to feel inspiring to somebody at most.
Somebody will finally, after all these years, pay attention.
Hey, Duncan, what do you think, man? How would you say that, or you work at, like, make you feel
I feel
about?
like everything you do is a stepping stone to the next step in life. So where I work now, I'm learning different things that can help me be successful at my next job, no matter what it is. And even if it's a negative experience, there's still a positive part to it. Like if you wash dishes, right? And the person, like, this is a real thing. The people before you at lunchtime, they'll get bombarded with dishes or whatever, and they'll just leave them. Or people won't, sometimes certain people just don't take pride in themselves enough to clean their space, and they'll just leave it for you. And it's just like, really? Like, this isn't the best situation. But you also learn that maybe sometimes, not that they're right or anything about leaving their stuff, but when you have to learn how to just deal with the bad situation, and A, I could be like, all right, I'm walking out, or B, I'm gonna be like, all right, now I have to clean this up and I have to fix this. That might help you or something like that psychologically. For me, I don't I don't really care about a lot of the different things, like anything that's trouble, anything that'll be bad. I don't care about a large majority of that. All I care about is, all right, what time do I clock in? What time do I clock out? Those are my most important things. Are my hours right for this week? uh where am I care about where I'm working and stuff, but currently my most important thing is how's my money? That's really my main concern in life. When it comes to, like, let's say my career, I'm pursuing something in audio engineering production. I also do music now, but I'm doing something that pertains to music or audio engineering or the mixture of both. So I wouldn't care just about clocking in and clocking out. I wouldn't care just about the money part. But for me right now, that's a large majority of what I care about. And I feel like a lot of people are like that. But in certain situations, like maybe a Popeye situation, you might just be like, well, I don't got to do that much. So I'm about to do the bare minimum and get paid. And that's how some people are going to feel. And I'm not going to say they're not intelligent to an extent, but it depends on their situation. If the managers don't care, that's not a good situation for the store and for people that care. But if everybody decides, all right, we all don't care. If it could become horrible in here, none of us really care. None of us really take pride in this restaurant. We're all coming here for money. The store's number one it's probably gonna close down. It's not gonna be open that much longer if everybody says, man, it could just be fire and I'm getting paid on the next fucking Friday. I'm getting paid in 2 weeks. No, if some point people have to give a fuck. But if nobody cares, or if you decide I don't care anymore, it becomes easier for you to come in. But in situations like mine where I'm just like, I don't have a pure dislike of the job. Uh, I'm not saying that I'm not a person and I don't dislike some things there. I don't dislike people, but nothing's really hurting me there to the point, or it's so distasteful. Yeah, distasteful or something like that. Maybe that type of word. But nothing's that bad there where I'm just like, oh my God, I'm gonna freaking you can't say kill yourself anymore. You can't even, I'm gonna fucking kill myself. Yeah, that's how you talk. You can't, you're never like, or I'm never like, man, this is the worst shit on fucking earth, because I'm like, there are slave children in China. Like, I go there a lot. If it's something really stupid, I'm just like, well, this is bad, but, and there's so many pluses. Other than that, I just never look at the negative as this is the end all be all, even if I am mad for a minute. But no, I think that your job now, that's a stepping stone. Don't ever let it happen again. Don't ever get in this position again. Learn from this so that next job you go to, you're like fucking prepared for it. If somebody's not working hard, or if you see the managers are doing certain things, learn how to function in Popeyes where you don't feel like you're doing everything. If you feel like the managers are retarded and you're retarded and everything sucks there, it's always gonna suck there for you. At least in your brain or whatever the fuck. I think your goal should be less, man, I need to, what the fuck is it called? I think your goal should be less, it shouldn't be let's not look for another job, but maybe try to work on being in that situation. Because in general, for the type of stuff we want to do, or at least for me, I always look at music and I'm just like, musicians can be struggling. They're not always struggling, but there's a chance for what I want to do, I might be in a struggling position at some point of time, or I might not be in the best position financially. And I always look at that and I'm just like, if that's ever in my future, I feel like I'm prepared to a certain extent, because no matter what happens, I'm never gonna just be destroyed mentally. Even if it's something that really sucks, I try not to be in the realm of always just fucking just depressed. I think depression is the enemy and happiness is the goal for life. And your job can help bring you happiness, but also I think that at certain points of time, there are people in your life that could be positive or negative, and if you sort through those people, especially at your job, you could be like, man, I hang out with this person, but they don't do any work. You could sort of be like, all right, I might hang out with him here, but outside of work, no. I'm not going to hang out with him because he's not beneficial to his own life, because it's like, I know one person where if we go out to somewhere, I know a couple people where if they try to make plans, even like just plans like let's go to the movies or something, the plans always change. They might not be on time. Sometimes they might not call ahead of time and let us know. It's shit like that, or let me know. Let's say whatever. Those aren't good characteristics to have in a social life, let alone fucking if we're trying to work on a business. Those are the type of cues and stuff where I'm just like, well, it's cool here where I work, but outside of that, nah, I'm not really trying to message you because to me, you don't seem like you have your life together. At least, because I think to a certain extent, I know who I am and I know what my goals are. And I kind of know how to reach them, even if I haven't reached them yet. But at least I have an idea. For some people, they have no idea. They're just kind of going ahead and like, I want to do something, but I have no idea how. And they're not like actively trying to advance in any way. I think the podcast is one way we're trying to advance, even if it's not good now. Eventually, if you consistently do something, it can be great. Like it's a Dan Harmon, fucking Harmontown clip I showed Melvin also, where the guy basically described his creative process as going from just procrastinating until the last deadline, which everybody has done with a school work something, to just make a whole bunch of shit, and then after you make the shit, be like, well, it's not really choosing which one is good or bad, just going, all right, what's this idea, how can I make this better? Because if you always go from the standpoint of how can I make this better, this podcast goes from, oh, it was really trash, which I don't think the conversations we have are bad, but it goes from this shit is really fucking horrible to, all right, what's bad about it? And once you take away all the negatives from it, then you're fucking good. Like if you have a car, right, and your engine is shitty because no, let's say you have a car, you need a new engine, you have a flat tire on the right side all the fucking time, and your cooling system is broken. If you fix all that, then your car is not fucked up anymore. You fixed all the problems. If we get the podcast or whatever we're doing, or even with the song, if I'm like, all right, I wrote this whole song and it took me 5 minutes to write it, but it's not perfect, I would much rather have, let me write a song for 5 minutes, let me write like 60 songs, let me edit all those songs afterward, because the editing process is really the part where you can decide what is this really gonna sound like, instead of you just like, oh, I have to wait for the right idea, because at certain points of time you might go, let me wait until this is the right point. I had this perfect idea, this is $1 million idea. Because most people that make the $1 million idea, they just keep pitching fucking ideas. They keep reading. They don't just have one. And that's just something I've been thinking about recently. But to go back to the work thing, I think you should just you're already working there. It's not like they're like, get out of here yet. Nah. But
Yeah.
you have to just find your own happy medium of, this shit's not, I don't like being here, but in some capacity I'm gonna learn something here that'll allow me, if I'm ever in a situation like this again, I'm gonna thrive.
In my
And not,
particular case, I'm needed like literally because I'm considered to be the best worker. So for me to be considered like the best worker there, and then for them to like that's how they treat you, and then you end up like you started bullshitting yourself. Yeah, it gets worse for them because then you lose your value. That's also why I would say that you probably shouldn't like degrade yourself like that. Like you don't have to stop being as good as you are just to make somebody else look at the whole situation differently. You don't have to do it that way. You can just leave the store in general and take whatever you need out of it. Because as of right now, this job, they see me as their best worker. So they see me as their best worker. I mean, if they're treating you shitty like you're doing a whole lot of work, then consider this thought. Put that on your resume that you do a whole lot of work, and then dunk like you get those people with the
letter of recommendation.
yeah, letter of recommendation, and then you like yeah once they make a letter of recommendation for you, you get another job, and then 9 times out of 10 they can make you a shift like a manager off the back, or you can have a higher position than like a
Or you can get the fucking job. Let's start there. Because if you think about like where you work, well, you came off the street with no experience prior, and they said, all right, we're gonna give you the chance without a letter recommendation, without other stuff on your resume to work here. Imagine going to that same job and you needed one and you didn't have any other experiences for them to go off of, because if they go off of Popeyes, it might be like, oh yeah, this person, we gave him a raise or upgrade or whatever, he was a great worker here. And you generally have somebody who cares about your well-being and wants you to succeed in your next job. They're going to try to praise you as much as possible, and then when you go to the next job, they're going to be like, oh, this, they're really speaking highly of him, maybe we're going to give him a real shot.
Yeah, that's what you look for out of a job at most. I'm not saying that if I'm not saying that you can't do that and it won't work. Just for me personally, when I did that, I didn't enjoy doing it because I didn't like sitting still knowing that I had stuff to do. I didn't like, cause really when I did it, uh, first off I was moving like slower than I normally would move. So it's like, damn, I already know what to do, but I'm moving extra slow. And then one of the times I like took a huge break while still being on the clock, and it was like I just didn't enjoy it simply because not working or just I just don't enjoy the thought of like not doing what you're supposed to do. When it comes towards like working, making money, or just how you feel personally as a person, I feel like you should do what you're supposed to do for yourself. This is something that I do in fact need. I do need money in my pockets at the end of the day, so that way I can be able to get what I want or what I need. And like lately I've been thinking about what I actually need most. So maybe I don't like the fact that they treat me like that, but it's like that doesn't mean that I have to like bullshit myself to make them like not bullshit, because in my mind I don't think that's going to work either way. If they bullshit just like you, if you bullshit like they bullshit, then it's just going to be no work getting done. They got to blame somebody. Of course they're going to blame the managers, but it's like somebody got to get blamed for the bullshit. And then you stop looking like a good worker. You stop looking like the number one. And losing the number one position doesn't necessarily make you a better worker. It just means that, you know, I said losing the position don't mean that you're the number one worker. I meant to say that
Yeah, you want to be on top at all
losing a
times.
number one position, it, it it doesn't mean that you're proving that you were the best worker. It doesn't mean that you're like, it doesn't mean that you're fuck losing the position. I don't fucking know. I'm not going nowhere with that. Just the thing is, if you lose, if you stop doing your work, and they don't see you as their number one, they're going to for surely replace you with somebody else. They can. This is with the job that I worked at. It's the fast food restaurant. So replacing you is quite easy. Even if they don't get the best worker, they're going to get one like somebody who's just like you someday. Person who's willing to work hard. You ever watch SpongeBob? You know how hard he works at like the Krusty Krab? They're going to get a nigga like that.
No, that person doesn't always exist. It doesn't matter, is the point. It doesn't matter how hard you work. Because think about it. You just said all your managers don't work hard. That means it doesn't matter how hard you work, regardless. The job's going to get done, and even if it's done shitty, they don't care. They just want their money. So if they're making money, they don't care. If they're not getting, like, customers saying shit, they don't give a fuck. That's why it's like being the best worker in this situation is like having a really sharp sword to cut somebody's head off. It doesn't matter. You're still going to cut their head off with a fucking dull sword. Or let's say having a fucking shotgun to shoot somebody instead of having a pistol. I don't know why I'm doing the killing thing, but it's like you don't need to be the best worker there. You need to be the best worker if you are doing sports in general. When it comes to jobs, you just need to be decent enough and make them the most money possible, and then you win. And the person that's the biggest asset and gets them the most money is the most important, not the person who can do the work the best way, even though you are an asset in a way. Also, earlier you said you were better than the managers, but for some reason they're managers and you're not a manager. That's just one thing to think about.
Yeah, it's like in a lot of cases, it comes towards preference of how people feel. And this is also one of those things where I say I need to be more sociable. Like, I need to socialize more. So, above the managers that I'm talking about that I'm saying I'm better than, there's managers who are their bosses. And those are the managers, they're general managers. And so, they are the ones who make people managers. My general manager, she made them managers because she thought that they had something in them. So what she did was she made them all pros, even though they didn't actually master what they did. They don't really know how to do any of it at a great level. And then she made them managers. Next thing you know, she regretted it because they don't actually do a lot of good things in there. She don't get a good restaurant, a good clothes every time. Like, at least when I'm not there, it's not going to actually be as good as it should be. You know,
Makes you
and
an
it's just,
asset.
like, and she's not a good manager herself. You know, and a lot of times she scheduled things wrong because our schedule is like it changes every week. So she doesn't necessarily know how to schedule things right. She can make it to when it's just like one worker and probably one manager. She's done that before. And it doesn't make sense when she does that. But as a manager, those are things that you need to see. You know, and she doesn't see those. And for them to be working here still, despite the fact that she knows that they aren't actually good workers, it means that she's a bullshitter herself. Even if she seems impressive or she's a general manager and she has the highest shirt, which means technically you are at a good position to the point when we know that you can run your position. Even if we believe that, even if we see that, it doesn't mean that she's not a bullshitter. In some shape, way, or form, she's a bullshitter. Uh, that's why at that place, I don't like how the system works as far as the people goes within it. But it's like I said, I don't have to deal with that. You know, you just utilize what's there and you use it to your advantage. Because again, you know, the hardest worker can still technically go on top. You just got to know how to utilize what you got.
I
And
think
that's
the
one of the things that I
smartest
learned
person in
there.
general is going to be the person that usually wins. Because, like, think about Steve Jobs. He's a prime example of somebody who's extremely successful, but he couldn't make an iPhone on his own. He couldn't make an Apple computer in any shape, way, or form on his own. He was somebody who took his skills, took what he did know, and he wasn't the best marketer or business person ever. But what he did do was he made everything he did look better than everyone else. Like, think about phones in general, right? Think about like the old brick phone. That looked disgusting. I wouldn't talk on that now because we have iPhones and Androids. But what he said was before the iPhones and Androids was, man, that old brick phone is disgusting. We're going to get a phone that's a pure glass, flat surface, and instead of buttons, you just press the screen. Back when that was literally impossible. Like, there was no way for you to even do that shit. People that like make those type of ideas or are able to make things look sexier than other people, they usually win. That's why some women could be like, "Oh, why is Kim Kardashian rich? She ain't did shit with her life." Like, those people don't understand that if you make anything look sexier than somebody else, you already have an edge on them. Like, you might be the best closer and worker at Popeyes, but just as an example, there might be somebody who might not close as good as you or might not work as hard as you, but if you make everything look better and, like you said, being more sociable, or you just make everything, like, just make it fun to work with you, people are gonna be like, man, I'd rather him be a manager than the other motherfucker, or I'd rather him be higher up than the other motherfucker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll be the god, and not just in how hard you work. If you make, it doesn't matter how hard you work. It matters how people think about how you work. Because I'm not gonna ever toot my own horn, but sometimes I feel like when I work on things, I'm better than another person at that actual job. But it doesn't matter how much I think that. It matters if everybody else thinks that, because you're not working alone. If you're working alone and you're only doing this for your own opinion, cool, you can do whatever you want. But since you're working for other people, your main job is not like you don't have to actually work, but you want those people to not just like you, and you might not even have to be sociable. There's some people that I know at my job who don't talk to anybody, or they don't say a lot of words, but they'll do things that people do when they're really like hard workers. They can be in the same position you're in, but they'll just do it in a way where people are like, whoa, like I like this person. Or they just give off a certain aura, you know? That's my little input, you know, dog. Cause I gotta say it, dog.
You know, when it comes to work, you know, that's I feel like those are some of the most important things about any job, period. You can learn something from them. And it's mostly going to be about yourself, but it's also going to be about things like, okay, how do I approach the next job? Or, like, okay, what type of job should I get into now? You learn more things. You know, it's a whole lot about it because, you know, for me working there for so long, I now don't even like to eat the food there just because when you eat it for so long, I mean, I know some people who like ate there so many times that they're like fat. They got fat off of just eating at that one place. And that's the managers because one of them was just like, he was skinny as shit. And then like he just got fat. It's like, God damn. All because he a
Did he
manager
have guns?
and he could eat whatever he want. You know,
Whatever.
that was it's like it's just something that can happen towards you, something that you learn about yourself. I don't like eating there no more. To the point when I feel like I need to go on a diet, and I still don't feel like I'm doing it properly because I still eat other things that technically still got fried. I need to be more healthy when it comes. I need to like understand my body more. I need to be more healthy, and I need to try harder. You know, you need to have strength and courage, and also willpower to just keep on going on with it and doing it for as long as you can, so that way you can actually be successful in anything that you want.
You're basically stating your ninja way. Melvin Uzumaki.
I didn't know that was Naruto. I don't watch Naruto.
Okay, so basically Naruto's this show where it's this kid who wants to be the president, but there's no good reason for him to be the president. And there's a lot of other interesting people in the television show, but it's centered around this guy named Naruto who, like I said, he wants to be the president, right? Of his ninja village. He lives in a ninja world. And in the first episode, you find all this out, and you find out that he also has a demon in his stomach that makes people not like him. And his whole life, he's been a nerd or a spaz, whatever term you want to use. I know people say nerd isn't nerdy anymore, but you're a god. You're a liar. But I'm gonna finish this really quick. The first episode, you find out all that he had this one teacher that doesn't appear again until he's like 25, who basically believed in him and saved him from people that were trying to kill him. In the second episode, he stands on a desk for some reason and he kisses this other guy. And that's his best friend, apparently. But then the guy who was his best friend, he wants to kill his older brother because his older brother killed their whole like sub race. Like he Hitlered their whole like part of a race. Like it's hard to say. It's like he killed all the Italians in Brooklyn. That'd be just metaphor or fucking something like that. But that kid, that's his best friend who wants to kill his older brother who Hitlered part of their village, even though they fight all the time and he kills people sometimes for no reason. And that's basically Naruto in a nutshell. And by the very end, they fought again. The one guy became president and he died like a week later, and his son, I don't care. It's so upsetting to hear the whole story of Naruto. Like they shouldn't have done it this way.
Who died? Like Naruto died, or
No, Naruto died like recently. I don't know if he came back. They might have brought him back. Because like Kakashi died, or if you know who Kakashi is. Well, basically that's Naruto. But in Naruto, to take it back from the very start, he said, "My Nindo, my ninja way," like one time, and then they mentioned it every episode forever and ever and ever in the show, because his whole dream is to be the president. But like they never give his reasons for why he wants to be the president of his village. They just say, "Oh, he wants to be the president and he's going to work really hard at it." And it's like they never really give the reason. Like they just basically say like he just wants to have it really bad. But it's kind of like J. Cole the rapper, J. Cole if you don't know him. So, it's this guy named J. Cole who his whole life he wanted to be a rapper, right? His whole life like he has a story, he had family problems, etc., etc., all that stuff, regular stuff. He wanted to be a rapper his whole life, but he didn't really have a reason to be a rapper. Or he didn't have a reason to be a top rapper other than he just loved it. But he does have the content to talk about where he can have a conversation with you about his songs and there could be an actual conversation. There are actors who have been through things in their life, or comedians more, and when they do comedy, it's almost releasing part of the frustration they have with their regular life. The main guy in this television show called Naruto has, like, other than him not really being liked his whole life, like, he wants to be the president, but they don't even touch on that a lot. He's just like, well, I don't care. I want to be the president. And it's just like, okay, but there's no reason for you to be the president. You also have a demon in your stomach in this weird ninja world. And it's just that whole show is just, it's odd because there's so many great characters. Like the other guy whose brother basically Hitlered a part of the I was gonna say Brooklyn, the part of their village. He's more interesting than him. Like the main guy who wants to be president, he likes that guy's wife in the future, but she never liked him and she doesn't really have any story. Like they don't even introduce her parents. Like it's the main characters in that show are so boring that they made a show that was like I forgot the term, but they got a characters from that show and they basically gave them their own show. And that show was a lot better. There's a guy named Bruce Lee. I'm not gonna go over it. Rock Lee, he looks like Bruce Lee. But in general for that show, it's so odd that it's so many great characters other than the main characters. And that's Naruto in a nutshell. What else? I'm basically just ranting at this point. It's weird because like this whole podcast, we didn't really talk to each other. We more talk to the audience, but that's a weird conversation because you can't go back and forth. Maybe we need to do this more live. But regardless, it's a show called Bleach, and I personally feel like it was better than Naruto. They were in a magazine serialized called Shonen Jump because it's also a graphic novel. But in Shonen Jump, they were in competition for a very long period of time. But to me, Bleach was better. Now you guys can write in the comments however you feel. We have to also show more people this, so if you can just show this to people, please, man. But just share your own opinions in the comments. But for Bleach, I feel like it was better for the purpose that Ichigo, the main character, he was like the other guy, except they didn't try to make him want something like being the president in his village. What he wanted was, all right, my friend got taken every season by the enemy who's like 80 people we're never going to beat, and we're going to have to train for a season to go all the way to fight Damn. I just thought about it. It's just as bad. Or, well, it's another show that was in the same Shonen Jump magazine that serialized the graphic novels called One Piece. And in One Piece, it's this guy who wants to be the Pirate King. Guess why? Because he wants to. Just because. Oh, my God. I just realized all those all those graphic novels from that period of time were all just bullshit. It's no motivation for the main character other than I said so. That's fucking funny. It's a show called One Punch Man. It's the best. It's one of the greatest like animated like television shows ever. So it's this guy named Saitama. I think he's better because he basically says, I want to be a hero sometimes, like part-time hero.
Saitama.
No, stop talking. So
Saitama.
you're going to say something stupid. Please let me get through my whole riff session. But Saitama, he just wants to be a hero sometimes just because. And what he did was he trained really hard to the point where it's called One Punch Man because he just has to punch somebody one time to kill him. And for a very difficult opponent, if he's not even hitting them full strength, it might took 2 punches at the very most at certain points of time. But it's funny because they're not like Naruto or Bleach or One Piece where they just say the main character wants to do something. He's just like, well, I just want to do it because I'm bored. Like, that's a better reason than I want to be the president. Why? Because, like, I might have missed something in Naruto or One Piece or Bleach or why he wants to save his friends and shit. But it's just like there's no reason for you to want to be the Pirate King other than I want to be the Pirate King. Oh wait, no, One Piece there was a legitimate reason.
He do
I
got
forgot
like
that.
the
All
One
right.
Piece basically.
In One Piece, no. He doesn't care about the treasure. He said, "I want to be the king of pirates to be the king of the pirates."
We don't know what the
I'm
trying to tell you. We don't know what the treasure is.
That's not what I'm talking about.
We don't
Number
know.
one.
We don't know what One Piece
Melvin,
is. That's
Melvin,
the thing.
nobody
about
knows
it.
what One Piece is. That's not the point. I forgot about that whole shit.
So he does. Care to
No.
get One Piece,
No. Listen. That's not my point. I just remembered the main point of One Piece, or one of the reasons he wanted to be the Pirate King. Not why he wanted One Piece, because he said multiple times, I just want to be the Pirate King, and I'm going towards One Piece because then I'll be the Pirate King. What made him want to be a pirate was when he was a little kid, it was this guy who was a pirate, right? In One Piece, it's about pirates. So he got lost in sea, and this one animal was going to eat him, and the pirate dude saved him, and he bit off his arm, or the pirate guy's arm, and then he brought him back to shore, and then the pirate guy left that town, probably because he had to go find better medical treatment because his arm got fucked up. But he gave the kid his hat that he saved, and that's the main character in One Piece. And he just said, one day you got to become a pirate and you got to get strong like me, even though he got his arm bit off by a monster. He's extremely powerful also. But he gave the guy his hat, and he hasn't seen him since then. But his goal is to become the king of the pirates because of that time. That doesn't make sense either.
He's the top 3 yonkels, and his name is Shanks.
No, but if you think about that, I can get you wanting to be a pirate because Shanks was a pirate. But like, even when they went back in time, no, because Shanks is a pirate. I'm saying like him wanting to be a pirate because Shanks is a pirate. But even after that, when they showed Luffy's childhood, the main character's name is Luffy in One Piece. They showed his childhood with his brother, and they just wanted to be pirates. That's my point with like Naruto too. Like, he just wanted to be the president. He wanted to be the Hokage. That's the term they use, but I'm gonna say president because it's easier to understand. He wanted to be the president, but they don't really explain why.
Yeah,
they
but
just
then
say
it's
he
like
wanted to be president.
when you take it into like when you think about it, his whole life has been wrapped around the sea, and also the fact that when he was saved by a pirate, he found that pirate to be inspiring. You got to think about it like this. Who they find to be inspiring to them is the reason why they want to be who they are. Maybe Naruto saw that there was a president who was actually great at what he did, and he liked him so much that he said, dang,
but they
I
don't
wanna
show
be
that
just
in the
like him."
television show. They're just like, this person wants to do this because. I'm
One
just saying
Piece does it.
One Piece does that. One Piece does something very smart. What they do is they make you care about shit, but like it doesn't really mean anything.
It does. It has some meaning. It just
No, I'm saying there's so many characters in One Piece that like they give you so much of their backstory. They have a real story, blah 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 blah, and they'll make you care about it. But in a regular television show, if it wasn't a writer who could give you that full story of the person, because if you hear anybody full story, you're gonna feel bad for them in some shape, way, or form. Or you're gonna understand them a little bit better because he does that. Okay, I get it. I get all the sub characters, not the main characters. The main characters, okay, Sanji's story I get. Zoro I get. Nami I get. Everybody but Luffy. Luffy, like, he's just like, I'm the greatest. Why? Like Nami's story, that makes sense. I get why she's a thief. If we're talking about Zoro, that makes sense. Sanji, they're showing his story now. His story is real as fuck. I don't get Luffy's. Or not I don't get it. He didn't give it the same attention. It's like Luffy's story is happening right now. The rest of them, they went into a whole season about theirs, I think.
Luffy's whole life is the season, bro.
Yeah, I just said that.
You gotta.
I just fucking said that. in different words.
The thing about Luffy, here's what you got to get about him. Shanks inspired him to become something. When he was younger, he didn't know his father, he didn't know his mother.
Yeah,
Therefore,
did.
he
His
had
mom
nothing to
died, though.
inspire him.
His mom died, and he got taken care of by his granddad. His granddad was in the Navy, and he actually looks up to his granddad. Why wouldn't he want to be in the Navy? Because the fucking author said no. My point is,
But the thing is, though, that also inspires him to want to do something similar towards what he's doing.
I
And
can't.
even though he could have joined the Navy if he didn't meet Shanks, but because he met Shanks, he ended up finding him as his inspiration, as what a hero is to him. That's what you got to consider. This is literally the main protagonist's life. We got to see everything through his eyes. Why he wanted to become a pirate king is because somebody told him that becoming a pirate king would be cool. They told him about One Piece. That's why he wants to do it.
But to me, that sounds like the writer was like, I want to make a show about pirates and shit.
Then that
I'm just
becomes
gonna
the same
make it.
thing with Sanji. Sanji, he wants to do something. I think it's called
No.
the Big Blue.
He became a chef because when he was growing up, his whole family was abusive to him, and the only people that ever cared about him and showed him any love was a kitchen. That's his real story. If you look at that in real life, it's like gang members. The reason that somebody joined the gang is because they lived in an abusive household with their mom doing whatever, and their dad didn't live there, and then those were the only people that showed them
But
love.
that's the same as Luffy's life. It's the same
No,
thing.
but
It's just
Luffy
brought out
had
differently.
his granddad was like, you could be in the Navy. He could have lived with his granddad. He could have just lived on his island. He said, no, I want to go be the pirate king. But there's not
because
a real.
he found somebody to be inspiring to him.
I think you understand it more than me, but I'm saying that it's a flimsy reason compared to everybody else. I'm not saying they're not good writers. I'm not saying that the guy's not a good writer. I'm saying that in its core, he could have taken that same time he takes with literally everything. That show is great, other than the main character's reason, which is I want to be like Shanks, which I can understand to an extent, but I'm saying that it's not as good of a reason for that as it is for everybody fucking else.
I think
Because
it's
everybody else on One Piece, like fucking Nami, even I don't know Shanks' story, but they're gonna do Shanks' story. It's gonna be fucking fantastic because everybody's story is great. Sabo, every fucking person on that show has an amazing story, and it makes you resonate with the characters. That's why I remember their names. If we're talking about Bleach, like I remember Ichigo, Orihime, Aizen because they said his name 100 times. The Soul Society, Rukia, Renji, that doll, and I can't remember,
I can remember
their other names.
Shinigami because I don't watch Bleach, but I know what a Shinigami is.
See, but I don't remember all the names. In number one of One Piece, there's 4 million characters. Every new season, they have 400 people that show up out of nowhere, and each one of them has a story, and every one of them, not every one of them is better than Luffy, but like most of the time, they just have more depth. But it might be like you said, because Luffy's life is happening.
Yeah, and then the thing is, Luffy life reflects off of his friends as well. There's a reason why they join up with him, because he has something that they aren't really good enough to even do or handle. There's a reason why he's the captain.
No. But they all have their own goals and shit. Like, if Zoro wasn't in the One Piece crew, he would still try to be the best swordsman. The One Piece crew is like, he's like, I believe in what you're doing. You can help me reach my goal. All of them have goals. Luffy's the captain, but he doesn't boss them around. That's the point. Everybody is their own person. And I'm not saying Luffy doesn't have a strong character. I'm saying that he has he had the regular fucking hero role. Like Goku. Goku has a character because Goku does fucked up shit all the time. That's what makes Goku Goku, but he's kind of like Superman where it's like, oh, I'm perfect, I'm really strong. Only thing is Goku loses, Superman doesn't lose a lot. One Piece has fucking Luffy ever lost other than Impel Down. That might have been one of his fucking greatest character building fucking stories ever because his fucking brother died and he couldn't do shit to stop it. And for the whole series, you see him beating the shit out of everything that existed. And then he couldn't save the one person, or not the one person he loved, but one of his fucking brother.
The one of the people that he loved.
One of the people that was most important to him, he couldn't fucking save him, even though they did all this crazy shit. And he almost died. His brother died trying to save his life. That shit gives you chills. That's a great ass story. I'm saying I want that same time and fucking energy put into his main story. And they might do it at some point. But I'm saying that this whole show, it makes me like all the other characters. It doesn't make me like Luffy more. Even though I like Luffy, I'm saying that Luffy just like the strongest dude. He's just there. He's the center point of the show. Everybody else comes from Luffy, but he's not like the most interesting.
Yeah, but he still got a whole he got a whole lot more people who's stronger than him right now. So like I said, like when you bring up the Yonkos,
Who?
you know, Big Mom, and then you got Kaido.
I thought they
and
beat
then you
up
got
Big Mom.
No, Big Mom never lost. Big Mom is still beating them. He's not even on her level. He's not the strongest. When you get down to it, Luffy is considered to be weak compared to all these people. They have stories that's, yes, very interesting to the point when you're like, damn, can Luffy even reach their level? Luffy is considered to be a battle genius. To the point when he learned how to take what his power is and make it strong. Because like when you go into the origin, you eventually learn that Luffy power was weak as shit. This nigga was getting his
No, but I'm
ass
talking
beat
about his
by
character,
his brothers.
not any fighting. Because
No,
you're just gonna be like,
that
Duncan,
is-
the
that
scientific
is-
formula, the punch to the left and the right is so strong.
That is his character. That's literally his
No,
story.
but I'm saying that for him to be the king of the pirates, nothing else. We're only focusing on the main motive of
that
the
is
hero.
the motive. He had
No,
to
but
learn
not
how
the fighting has. No, I'm saying why he wants to.
But a fighting does bring depth of why his motives are there. He literally could not defend himself. He had to learn how to
Melvin,
utilize
but
his
that's
body.
anybody if they want to be a pirate. That doesn't make Luffy special.
That
My
does
point,
make a person special. If you don't
not
learn
being the strong. No, I'm saying if you don't learn how to fight, if you're like Usopp in the beginning and you really don't know how to fight, that didn't make Usopp between pirates and shit who kill people all day, rape, plunder, and shit. Not being able to fight, that's just not something that can happen. That would make that whole story shitty. I'm saying that for him to want to be the king of the pirates, what is the legitimate reason?
that is his legitimate reason, because he was inspired by somebody else. Thus, he wanted to eat the gum gum fruit. He ate the gum gum fruit, and when he ate the gum gum fruit, he wanted to utilize it so that way he can become stronger. But of course, he didn't know how to use it. It didn't really do him much good early on, so he got his ass beat most of the time. And then eventually, he learned how to use it better, and then he got strong, like he is now. He had to learn how to utilize what he got. These are things that help carry on as Luffy as his story builds up. These are the things that you see him as. You see him as a character who's a battle genius, who knows how to fight.
Who said that?
The thing
bullshit?
he wants to do is he wants to become the pirate king, and this is everything he's going through to become it. He got his own group. He's not bossy at all, but he is in fact the captain. Therefore, they do listen to his orders.
Name
And
one
although
Luffy
everybody
order.
has,
Name one Luffy order right fucking now.
when it was one time when Luffy he wrapped his neck around Nami and shit, and he said they're about to go on this island, and they went on that island. He's the captain. If he wants to
But
go
he
there,
didn't
they
tell
go
her,
there.
steer me
And
to
also-
the island. He
Yes,
just
he
said,
did.
bitch, come on. He just picked her up.
No, he didn't just pick her up and jump to the island. They moved to the island because he wanted to go to the island.
Oh,
And last
see, that's
time
different.
when it was a certain member, I forgot his name, Usopp, when he betrayed, he didn't even betray him. Technically, he wanted to fight Luffy and become captain himself. He got his ass whooped.
He got the shit
then
beat out of him.
he
Usopp
apologized
got
to Luffy.
fucked up.
And then he apologized to Luffy. And then Luffy told him that he can join the crew. Luffy is the boss. It's just that he's not bossy like you said he is. He's not extra bossy. He's gonna let you do your thing because he
No, but
understands that he
Melvin.
needs these people and he wants them to be comfortable as possible. But it's like Luffy is still the captain. They still listen to his
All right,
word.
I think we're getting away from my main point. My main point is he was inspired by Shanks, right? I'm saying that even if, okay, so we could probably end this here, but he does not have the same motivations as written down as, let's say, Nami, let's say the rest of the people in his crew, or even people that they just bring up out of nowhere.
But it's like
In my personal opinion.
he might not have the same. And some of them actually, yes, he does have the same.
No,
Big
no,
Mom.
I'm talking about the depth of his character in that area is not as strong. Now, you can see the whole show. He really wants this shit. You could see that could be his motivation. That could be it. How much he's fought, how much he's worked hard to get stronger to become the Pirate King. But in its base, he just said, I want to do that shit and I'm going to do it. That's basically it.
But he still has characterizing that builds him up to that point. Maybe he's not what's his name? Fucking
Chopper.
no, not
Chopper is the best
Maybe
person.
he's not Zoro.
Yo,
I mean,
he has the worst
even
thing
if
in
you
the
go
whole
into
thing.
Zoro's life, Zoro don't have much either. We didn't really get to see Zoro when he was a kid. We only saw Zoro when he was like an
But
adult.
we're just seeing Sanji.
We only see him. Yeah, even with Sanji. Sanji wants to become a cook or something. Cooking is the only thing he knew that works for him because his parents treated him like shit. So he left, and then he had joined. He ended up going on a ship with this one pirate
He
who
became
was
a
a good
blood
cook, who basically lost his leg trying to save Sanji because he wanted to do the big. He wanted to like be part of the Big Blue. I forgot what the fuck it's called, but
It was the Big Blue. I'm gonna
something
keep it
like that.
real. All that type of stuff, we can forget that. All we care about is One Piece. Because every other season they say, "Oh, it's a brand new ocean." It's 7 oceans on Earth. There can't be the Big Blue, the Big Green, the Big Red.
No,
Big Hero
the Big
6.
Blue. I don't even think it has anything to do with just an ocean. I believe it's like cooking.
Melvin, don't
something.
ruin my joke. You're stepping on my toes.
See, I didn't know it was a joke. I thought you was literally
Melvin,
talking
this
about
is
an
a
ocean.
podcast. We can't be serious about the. I said the Big Hero 6.
I
Is
didn't
that
even
really
hear
an
you say
ocean?
that.
Well, sometimes you gotta listen.
But they the thing is, they all have their own lives and how it builds up. And this doesn't necessarily mean that they're better than Luffy either. When you really get down to it, you know, Sanji or Zoro. Well, actually, Zoro's pretty fucking strong, but it's like
Nah, Zoro's
they
stronger than Luffy,
aren't
man. We all
considered
know
they
that.
aren't considered to even be battle geniuses like Luffy is.
Who
Nobody
said
gives
he
them
was
that.
a battle genius?
Plenty of people do.
I've never seen them say that.
I've seen 100 videos when they literally just said Luffy's
Oh, are
the
you talking
battle
about like
genius.
people on YouTube or people in the show?
People on YouTube.
I care about people in the show because if you ever watch him fight, he just goes gum gum, swings his arms back, then he swings it forward. Literally.
But then, okay, but do you think about how he actually fights? What moves he utilizes when he's fighting?
Melvin. So this
Then,
is
of course,
something.
Then there's
No,
one
no, no.
thing that
Think
I
about the
mentioned to
guy
you
who made
before.
One Piece. He is a genius writer and manga artist. He is not a expert martial artist.
You have
Look,
to
think
be-
about Baki the
This
Grappler.
isn't
Think about all the
mar-
time they
This
take
isn't about
into it.
martial arts.
No, but
though.
he's not gonna make it that much about fighting to the point where you could say he's a
But it
battle
is
genius, where
about
they bring up
fighting.
real tactics.
But
It's not like
How you
strict.
gonna say that he's a great artist and then say he's not gonna do something just because you
Melvin,
never thought
listen,
of it like
listen,
that?
listen. What I'm saying is he's giving more depth to the characters, but he's not gonna be like, oh, Luffy's gonna do a dodge. He's not gonna have like an inner monologue in Luffy's
Have
head
you
about what he's gonna do.
seen any of
I've
the
seen-
movies? Have you seen the manga? It's literally
We're not
done
arguing
just
about
like
this.
that.
We're not arguing about
Luffy
this.
does those things. It's the reason why he's called a battle genius. You can
By
give your
people
own
on
opinion
YouTube,
about
though.
it, but people on YouTube watch this more than I do. So when I hear them say that, and they probably did say it in the anime. It's probably just an episode I missed. Because honestly, I did not see every episode. They got
Melvin, you mean all
right
800 episodes? Oh shit.
now. They got 800.
It's really 800 episodes.
I probably only seen 200.
No, Melvin, I'm saying from the viewer
So
standpoint,
it's like-
all I see is, all right, now he learned how to make his arms metal. He's still going to stretch them back. He's still going to push it forward. If he learns how to do another boost mode, they basically stole all the stuff from Dragon Ball Z as soon as Dragon Ball Z went off. Then Dragon Ball Z came back on, and they was like, oh, shit, they got more shit to steal? This shit's ridiculous.
Dragon Ball Z and this is a whole different thing. First
Nah,
off,
bro.
they named it hockey, and that's supposed to be key energy. And that stuff is like makes their body metal. That's two differences. They invent
Goku grows longer
One
hair.
Piece is inventing stuff practically. But Luffy
Didn't they take that from,
Luffy don't get longer hair. His hair never increased.
Sometimes it grows shorter when he gets bigger.
Yeah, he grows shorter when he gets bigger, but that's because he's like a balloon. Like he's basically rubber. That's how his body works. So Luffy understands his weaknesses and knows how to utilize his strengths. Like if you actually look at videos, because there's a whole lot of great YouTubers and stuff, and even like past YouTubers, there's like people who literally like talk about it like on all types of different websites. And you just see them leave it alone. But you just look at them talk about it, and then they go into depth of how Luffy is as a character, and then you're like, so I didn't think about it like that. You probably did see the episode, and then like you didn't realize it until somebody else just brought it up, or maybe it's something that you never seen, and you choose to believe in their word because you think that everything they're saying is true. And I mean, why would they lie if this is a show? and you can easily watch it yourself and then find out. I mean, it'd be no point of them lying really about the show. But it's like my main point is Luffy is basically he is the main character. He has an interesting backstory, and as everything that he does as of right now is, I think it's a great story.
But I'm not challenging the show. I already said the guy who makes the show is a genius. Like not even like a joke genius. Like he's done something that's like the most popular manga or graphic novel of all time, or B, it's like one of the top 4 or 3 or
It's
2.
one of the top 3, but it mostly always hits the first on what you call it.
Shonen Jump.
Yeah, Shonen.
But my main point is, compared to the other stories, for me personally, because you feel a different way, I'm not saying the show is bad. I'm saying that Luffy's main reasons for wanting to be the Pirate King don't resonate with me the same as Sanji's reasons or Nami's reasons or even the little chop AK.
Maybe you like those characters better.
No, I don't
But it's like
Well, I don't like Luffy that much because Luffy's kind of like Naruto. Naruto is he's one dimensional. He's very boring. Everybody else in the show is more interesting.
it's like I see it like as that the main protagonist has the biggest dreams, thus people look up to him more, and
But
they
I can
follow him for
understand
those
his
reasons.
dream.
I don't understand Naruto because I don't actually watch Naruto. I never been disappointed of a Naruto episode because when I watch Naruto, it's like I never like hated watching it. It's just that I never took the time to get into it. Like a lot of anime out there, like Bleach. I never hated Bleach. I just never took the time to get into it. One Piece is just one of those animes that I have taken time to get into because when I was much younger, I used to watch it a lot. And then I stopped because, like I didn't know what channel it came on anymore. And then eventually I
Internet.
caught up to it, like as soon as the internet became a big thing. And it was me, Crunchyroll, and then eventually it became me, watch cartoons online, and then, YouTube. So I watch it on all those websites, and I like it. It's just one of those things that I look at when it comes towards anime. You know what anime? You already talked about it though. One Punch Man. Like
I don't want to ruin it for the new watchers.
we gotta
I
ruin
feel
it
like
for
we're
the new
gonna have a
watchers.
whole conversation. I'm just gonna get pissed off again.
Well, One Punch Man.
Yeah, because I feel like when we argue about stupid shit, it's really a facts argument. But like, I'll be like, Melvin, there's literally
this can't be nothing stupid. This is the conversation about something that we both believe in. If you
All right,
consider it
all
stupid,
right.
that means that you consider my side to be stupid, and you don't think
I
that
don't
it's right
consider
at
your
all.
side to be stupid. Let me
call it
rephrase
stupid then.
that. Let me rephrase that. Fuck your side. All right.
Fucking bitch.
No, I got a better way. This side.
I feel like you're trying to take what
Childish Gambino.
That's what you're saying. I thought you were trying to take.
Did he?
I thought you were about to take Travis Scott and what he said. He just said said a little tiny voice.
This side in the rain. This side. This side. This side. This side. You know that one song.
No,
This
it's like
side.
it's not. I think you're singing it wrong entirely.
This side in the rain. This side.
It sounded like you were singing Butterfly Effect when you said it.
Yeah, I was literally. I was singing This Side, his new song. They also call it Butterfly Effect at the time. I can't draw girls for some reason. My life is hard. Nah, but let's start this One Punch Man conversation.
All right, so Watchdog Man is obviously Saitama's, the only person who's
What
strong
the
enough
fuck
to
are
face
you
it and fight
talking
against
about,
him.
nigga?
Watchdog Man pretty much is considered to be the most OP character as of right now, besides Saitama.
Oh, is that in the manga?
I can't wait to see them both battle it out because obviously Watchdog
Saitama's gonna
Man
win.
is one of the strongest.
Saitama's
But it's
gonna
like
win.
the thing is about Watchdog Man is that he has weaknesses that I think Saitama could exploit. Like for instance, Watchdog Man only defends his own town. Because he fights like a dog and shit or an animal. Period. Watchdog Man is like. He's obviously the best. He beat Goro with ease. Like Goro was not a match for him.
Okay, so Melvin, I don't know character names, but I do know faces. And I know Saitama because other people have said his name.
Watchdog Man looks like Saitama in the face with like little pupils without the little white part of the eye, and then he has like a dog like that's eating him. So you just see a face.
All right, so you didn't explain that well, but I think if I see him, I'll
It's
get
a
to it.
man inside of a dog costume, and then the thing is, you could just see his face. His face look round like Saitama's. It looked like it's always bored, just like Saitama's, except he has just like pupils, little dark pupils, and then there's no like white part surrounding it. Whatever the fuck you call
So
it.
what you're saying is Saitama in a dog suit. So the guy who draws that was like, "Fuck it, I need somebody like Saitama. Why don't I just make another Saitama?" And
Yeah,
like, well, he can't
and
make I
now
can't make the same character twice.
and now
I'm gonna add a
Watchdog
dog suit.
Man is gonna become the best character, and he's gonna be beating Saitama one day. I believe he will.
Melvin, why do you want Saitama to lose, man? Why can't it just be boring that Saitama hates his life? I mean, why can't Saitama just be bored because he hates his life? I think that shows more about depression than it is anything. Ever seen Mob So?
Mob Psycho 100.
Yeah, I can't talk. Fucking
Yeah,
stupid.
I've been on that for like a long time. Ever since I caught on to it last year, I read the whole manga. You know, I really do like reading a manga and then never having it like stop. So you like wait for 1 week. I hate doing that sometimes because it's like when you really get into it, it's like you would hate for it to just stop. For Mob Psycho 100, I caught on to it late. It was a whole bunch of chapters that I read. Uh, and it was like how I read it was actually amazing to me because where it ended for me, it ended right where Mob ended up. So like Mob fought this one guy, and then they created a giant tree or you know a broccoli that's filled with a whole bunch of energy that's pretty much alive, and it wants to consume more energy. So what ended up happening what ended up happening was his friend I forgot Dimple ended up utilizing its power so that way he can gain power himself and become God because that's something that he
Melvin, aren't
wanted
you
to
saying the
be.
last chapter? Can
And
you describe
then
the show so that people want to watch it? They
and
can.
then Mob ended up trying to like
God
he
damn it,
tried to
Melvin.
stop him, but then when he realized that that was his friend's dream, he was like, okay, I'm not going to stop you. I know that you want to be God. So he started giving Dimple some power. Then Dimple just stopped and said, you know what, I'm gonna let go of the tree and we can just like just be friends and I'll just do whatever you say. It's like it's their relationship. You got to like read it and stuff, but it's like pretty much Dimple ended up letting go of the power, and then the creature who was like within it that was technically absorbing the power and then giving it to Dimple ended up coming to life, and then ended up like fighting Dimple, and he was trying to get Mob because he knows that he's a huge energy source, and now that he knows that, uh, Dimple ended up like trying to make sure that Mob doesn't get touched because Mob gave up a lot of power, and Dimple ended up getting the shit beaten out of him. And then after that, like Dimple, like it's just this one. It's like this moment where Dimple is like talking to Mob. I don't even think Mob sees like Dimple missing any body parts. Like, but Dimple's like missing a leg and an arm, and he just talked to him, and he just said, "Go ahead, Mob. Yeah, I need you to go along." And Mob said, "I'm not strong enough." It's like it built up that moment for me, and pretty much, yeah, it's a
You
great
just
anime though.
spoiled that whole fucking show. Like you didn't. So here's the thing about Mob Psycho. No, no,
I could
no,
have
no. Let
said
me,
more
let me,
about
let
it,
me, let
but
me. All
yeah.
right. So I'm gonna give my commentary. I'm talk about Mob Psycho. So basically, when somebody tells me about a show, you said, "Well, it was this guy named Goku. He's fighting a guy named Frieza for the 40th time. Well, he beat the shit out of Frieza, and he's fighting. Or if you said how the last season ended or some shit, how they fought the Time Wizard and shit, you described like the last moment of the last moment of GT when they fucking beat the Omega Shenron and shit. That's what you just did. You didn't like if somebody's gonna watch the show, they might watch it, but like it's so much shit that like doesn't even I. It's so much shit that like I don't. It's like it's. I think that's strictly for a fan of the show.
I don't
But
think
if you want people to watch it, it's just like I feel like you'd have to tell people about the show instead of like telling like
Okay, so there's people who like to be spoiled and people who don't like to be spoiled because they like to get the see it
No, but it's not
first.
a spoiler if motherfuckers don't know anything about the movie. You never heard of Star Wars,
And
and then a nigga tells you like, all right, yeah, he kills Darth Vader in the end, but he doesn't explain who Darth Vader is or how he kills him or what any of that is. You're just like, okay, it's almost like you just made a
that's
thought.
pretty much what I did.
Yeah, literally, you just said a thought. But I'm saying like, if you wanted people to watch it, that wouldn't be the way, at least in my own brain, because I'm Duncan.
I mean, if y'all gonna watch Mob Psycho 100, y'all watch it. But it's like Mob Psycho 100 is great, and when you watch it, it's just like One Punch Man because you consider him to be OP for like a minute, but it's like
Now he is the strongest man.
he at the end of the day, it builds up a big characteristic. It's actually quite similar towards One Punch Man. Seriously, you need to check it out. If you end up being like, damn, this is just like Saitama's story, it's gonna easy change in your mind. I'm gonna tell you like this: it's a different story, and I like it. What one was doing with that story was really great. Please watch it. You know, and we like. I like to talk about the story more actually, like later on.
I mean, we
But
literally have all the time in the girl.
all right, guys,
All right,
we've been
everybody.
going on for like
Time
an
to talk
hour.
about President Trump.
All right.
So, this guy named Donald Trump. Did you guys ever know, like, he had sexual assault cases with underage women? That he settled outside of court. And one time, so he knew the Hilton family very well, like Paris Hilton's parents, and even her at a very young age. Like before she was born, he knew her parents. And he's been noted as saying things like, "Oh man, she's really attractive." I'm not gonna quote him directly because I'd be misquoting him because I don't have the article in front of me. But just like he said comments about her, and he's even watched the sex tape of somebody that's almost, I don't know how close they were, but it's kind of like watching your little cousin and you know their parents well, or your friend's daughter's sex tape. It's odd that somebody like that was able to manipulate people enough to become the president. It's really just upsetting, honestly.
I won't even say it's odd. It's something I can actually see. It's just not something that I want to see forever.
No,
But
but
then
I
it's
mean
like
this is
it's one
common
of those things that
information.
at basic, yes, like
Like you, but like for him to have sexual assault cases and for him to say those sort of things and for him to become the president, I'm just like, and it's common information. The internet is here. Anybody can look it up. And even though people have said this before, it's just like, do people not care any? Like, I don't understand. Why wouldn't you be like, oh, I wouldn't want him to be my president at the very least? Oh, that's your sister?
just keep talking.
All right. Just I'm wondering now. But it's odd that those incidents can happen and everybody's just like, oh, I don't like him. And like nobody's doing anything real. Like people can be like, we're trying to pass legislation. We're like watching him. Why can't motherfuckers be like, I'm not trying to incite a riot? Why can't motherfuckers be like, yo, fuck this shit. We're gonna get a goddamn re-election instead of everybody like you be around people like, man, Trump shouldn't be president. He's a fucking idiot. And like everybody's talking shit, but nobody's doing anything. You know?
You know, it's not that people aren't doing anything, Duncan. It's
They're
just
not
that you
doing
can't really
anything real.
change much of anything.
Yes, you can.
They are
We're
doing
the
something
people.
real.
The whole
You
government
got to
is
think
for
about it.
us.
So Trump is retarded, right? But then at the same
say
time,
that
Trump is
word.
obviously smart.
He
just
makes
because
retards
Trump.
look bad.
So because no, Trump is retarded, right?
No, he makes retards look bad.
But then you already know what I mean. Stop saying that. He's retarded. But then how Trump goes at everything,
You're making
he
yourself
comes
look
out
bad,
to be like
Melvin.
a smart guy.
No. Everybody thinks he's stupid. In the business where they laugh at him because, number one, if you work with him, he's going to steal your money. He doesn't do good business. He's known for business and having money. He got all that money from his dad. He didn't do shit original. If you really look up the shit.
But how he become the president then?
Because he said this in the 80s, mind you. He had an interview where he basically said, if I was ever going to run for president, I'd just get all the dumb hicks. I knew it. I just get all the dumb hicks to vote for me and say that I was going to get them their jobs back, even though slavery and coal mines are all obsolete forms of jobs. Because if you think about it, or even if you look up the information, a coal mine produces more radiation than the goddamn mine Homer works at in The Simpsons. Like, for him to say that, it's just uneducated people that aren't in a good position and they're just trying to get anything. In World War II, Nazi Germany, the reason why they went along with that whole scheme is because after World War I, that whole country was just poor. They had nothing. So they would rather believe in somebody who would say something like that because he was offering them a alternative to not eating than anything. But in our situation in America, or even those people, they could go get a job. They have ways to go find something to do to make money, but they'd rather be upset because they don't have the jobs
All right, but let's
and
go.
complain about it.
Let's go back to Trump.
And that's how he got elected.
Let's go back to Trump for a second. Because the thing is about Trump is that you said back in the 1990s or 80s that Trump pretty much has said that he will go with Republicans because they let him.
No,
do what he
not
wants.
Republican poor people. That's what he did. He got poor people and even black people to vote for him.
But then, how is that not considered smart?
It's not that
goes
it's
back-
not smart. I'm saying that for who he is, would they not look up information about him? Hello. I just don't understand that.
But then that's, Mom, we're doing something.
I need you to get my stuff in the house.
Oh, okay, I can see. I don't know.
I don't know. All right. So I don't understand in this age why you wouldn't Google who's your savior. If somebody says they're Jesus, you can go on their Facebook and see if they're really just somebody who's a crackhead who found a robe. This is that same situation, except people aren't doing the information. And everybody thinks he's stupid already. But all he really had in regular America was freaking a TV show. Now they're like, oh, he's going to offer us some sort of job. Why wouldn't the people in that situation look at this and go, man, maybe we shouldn't elect him? I'm not
Because
saying
they're
Trump is
people,
dumb. I'm saying that.
And because some people think that it's a great idea. It's like every supervillain out of any TV show that you watch. You know, at some point of time, people go along with them because it seems like the best option. And then eventually you realize, dang, maybe it's not the best option as soon as they start ruling and then they do whatever they want. It's like when you brought up Hitler, he was the only person out there who was saying stuff. And then when you actually seen him rule, like when he actually during the war, he started seeming like an ignorant ignorant person because there were certain war tactics that they could have done that could have beat the Americans, but he didn't want to do it.
No, because he was killing millions of Jews. That's the reason I would say.
No, that's why he lost. He could
No,
have
that's
beat
why
Americans.
he lost, but he was also fighting for different countries. Really, it was America that did the most damage.
Yeah,
Because if you think about it, before that, he was literally destroying the rest of Europe.
he
was
lost to
beating 20
Russia.
countries.
He lost to the UK.
You weren't gonna be no. He was beating he was about to destroy everybody but Russia. Because the thing about Russia
No,
is
he couldn't beat UK. That's the thing you don't know. 'cause
no.
UK is-
United Kingdom, they're about to lose.
They were split
London.
up though. He couldn't really do nothing to them because when he went in there, right, he couldn't do much to them because they're split it up. You know how their country
That's just not
works,
true.
how their country is. It was hard for him to like take over it.
No.
That's why the UK said
Melvin.
they needed help from the Americans, but when the Americans didn't help out, they still won anyway.
Melvin, the Americans came to help because Germany kept sinking their trade ships because
When
America.
did they say that the Americans helped? The Americans didn't help.
The
until
Melvin.
German-
Melvin. So this is how World War II went. So Hitler decides, all right, we're gonna start. They were gonna get all of Germany, put it back together because after World War I, they split all of Germany apart. So he started conquering places like not Prussia. What was it called?
France. He
No.
conquered France.
That's
he
not
did.
how it. That's not where he started. He started conquering little parts of Germany until he had it all under his rule for the most part, or from what I know from like let's say history. So he got all that unionized or whatever the fuck. Then he started making partnerships with people like Vladimir Putin, people in Italy, just different countries, so they'll work together. And then he made partnerships. Then he started attacking people, and he just kept taking nation after nation after nation after nation, in the way Napoleon did, until by the very end, he was able to almost destroy all of or conquer all of Europe. The problem is when it comes to Russia, and this is the reason why Napoleon couldn't do it, it's cold there. Most of your troops aren't ready for that. For you to go and have a whole fight with Russia is a type of war you're probably not going to win just because of goddamn morale. Actually fucking getting there, the planning it's going to take. You'd really just have to be firebombing the fuck out of them.
Not to mention Russia is big as shit.
Yeah, Russia's a very large country, so you're going to have a lot of people that aren't just ready for the terrain, but they're also ready to fight.
That's why they lost to Russia. And then for the UK, it's because it split it apart.
Melvin, that's not. He was beating all of them. The reason the Americans got to World War II was because.
But the thing is,
No. But he was about to win. He was going to win.
Stop going straight
Melvin,
to the Americans. It goes
because
straight into
Americans joined. But I'm trying to tell you why. Listen. Let me finish my whole point. Let me finish my point, please. So this is what happened. So America was in the Great Depression. We started sending trade boats. Germany started sinking those trade boats. Then we went to war with Germany because that was our revenue. That's how we were making money. And then we started going over there to fight. We started shifting the tide of the war because they were going to lose. Europe was fucking Germany. They were going to win. The Germans were going to win. And what happened after the whole America joining and shit, we fucking bombed the shit out of Japan, which I don't think was the correct move, but it happened regardless. We went to Normandy beaches in Germany. They were already on their way to losing as soon as we got over there, and we started using our tactics and shit. And we won. We helped them win the war, and that really, without World War II, America might not be a country because our whole economy is fucking destroyed.
All right, bro. I like to do some huge research about this because for what I hear, here's what I heard. First off, UK won by themselves because they asked for Americans to help them out. And then the Americans said they didn't want to get into any of that stuff, so they didn't help them out.
Melvin, they did. You're fucking stupid. Why the fuck are we over there? Have you ever heard of Normandy beaches?
I'm about to literally research it.
You gonna look this shit up because you're stupid. So we're gonna stop talking about that.
You can't even call me stupid, bro. We have two different opinions.
Melvin, I learned a lot of this shit in public school than like History Channel and other shit. Other sources off of one main source. America did help them in World War II and World War I. Every war, for the most part, every significant war America's been in, other than, let's say, the Revolutionary War, the fucking French and Indian War, and the Civil War, it's been a part of just us being a part of other people's shit. It wasn't because, why are we in World War II over in Europe? Why the fuck would we care? Why are we in goddamn Taiwan or fucking with Kim Jong or whatever the fuck? Or in Afghanistan or Iraq? Because we want to. That's what the fuck we want to do. We want to get that oil. We want to capitalize on their resources. That's what America does. And that situation
could be part of a greater plan. But then you got to think about it. Germany was going to come for us anyway. Just like Japan came for us as well. And
I mean, if we would have signed a treaty with them, they might have taken us over, but they might not have. It depends. We weren't in the position to really argue because our banks all failed right before. That was the Great Depression. All of America was poor. We really didn't have a way to make money. If you ever read The Great Gatsby, you can learn about that whole situation. But we started trading with Europe, and that's how we started getting revenue back.
All right, man, 6.
All right, dog. All right, so we got an hour and 40 minutes. Melvin's going to look up about World War II. I hope you other people look it up also. I want to apologize to Melvin if I got heated today. I am 100% positive I got heated. But when it comes to history and shit I know, and shit I've looked up, I always feel like, not that I'm right, just so like, you can't call me wrong when I'm not wrong. It's like the crazy thing we mentioned in the very beginning of the podcast. This was 2 guys on a bench. Oh, yeah, Melvin.
What?
Any last segments, words, thoughts?
No, man, that's it.
All right.